All right. Sam Stafura, thanks for coming on, man.
Of course, bro. Thank you for having me.
What's new, dude? How's the season going?
Dude, nothing new. Season's going great. Here in Daytona. We're actually in West Palm right now. Just having fun, playing with my boys, doing my thing.
That's right, man. How's professional baseball been for you?
Very interesting, bro. Definitely very difficult. However, you just got to try to stay consistent, win day by day. It's a grind, bro, but you love it. You meet so many new people, so many relationships, friendships that last a lifetime. So it's amazing.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an experience that has been much different for my personal sake, and since the time I've known you, it's been fun to kind of watch you kind of just in the last year, I'd say, just watch you in terms of how you've gone about your business, and in terms of how you've seemed to just kind of grow, and as a player and as a person, it's been fun to watch, and to see you have the success you have has been a lot of fun. So it's cool to see. And Sam Stafura is currently on the Daytona Beach Tortugas. I'm one of his teammates. We've played together, I guess, really the past 2 years, including last year in rookie ball a little bit, and then I've gotten to play a bulk of this season together. Spent a little time in spring training together. So Sam is a second rounder out of New York, and he's joining us on here today, and it's, like I said, it's awesome to have you. But so, Sammy, just for the people that don't know, man, just tell us a little bit about your background, just in terms of where you grew up, where you come from, just family life and all that good stuff, just to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit.
Yeah, well, first of all, my name is Sam Stafura. I'm from New York, a little bit upstate. People call it upstate because it's 45 minutes from the city, but it's not actually upstate. All my family is from Slovakia. My dad, my mom, grandparents. The only people who aren't are my brothers. My dad came here when he was 18, actually, and I'll tell you that story because that story is honestly amazing. But he came here when he was 18 from Slovakia with a $100 bill in his pocket and no English. So he just came here straight off the plane, didn't know anyone, didn't know anything, and had $100. And his first night, he had no clue what to do because he just didn't know any English. So he got here, he went to the bar, spent all $100 of it, and then it was gone. So there it started. He had to create his own business, start everything fresh, which is unbelievable, and that kind of gives me the motivation I have today. Because if he could get out of that and figure things out, I could too. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting story. Came here with nothing, grew his own business, now has his construction business, very successful man. And it's just super impressive to just grow up and watch that. And my mom, on the other hand, she came here when she was 12 years old. But they're both from Slovakia, so they met in New Jersey, which is a cool story. And now I'm here. I got two brothers, one Steven, one Little Nicky. Little Nicky's he's the camera guy for the Daytona Tortugas, takes some pictures, photos, all that. Super cool dude. And my older brother's the one who's been there since day one with me. He was my trainer, my mentor, literally everything. And he's been a huge part of my success and everything growing up.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's been cool to watch. I've known a little bit about your story, but I've always been able to tell, like, you have that work ethic piece, and I think that's something that I've always kind of admired, just in terms of being your teammate, because I think even in college, a lot of times guys don't always have or at least, well, I went to college, you didn't. In the sense of playing college baseball, but I saw guys that still didn't have that. The attitude is a choice, right? And I just always have felt like it's cool to see. It's cool to see how, I don't want to say naively, but just how abundantly positive you are about every and any situation that comes your way. And I think that's a lesson that any listener on here could adhere to is just the fact that you don't always have to have everything going well and going right in your life. And I know for a fact that I don't always handle that the best, and just in terms of the grind of playing professional baseball. But I've always seen it from you, and it's funny because I have a little experience on you just in terms of age, but I've picked some stuff up just watching how you go about your business, seeing how you are so close-knit with your family. It's really cool. I mean, you seem to always be talking to them and having a relationship with them, and it's fun to watch, man. And I definitely can tell just in the sense of how you were raised, just that, like I said, the work ethic component is just something that I feel like a lot of guys don't necessarily have, and if they do have it, it's an attitude thing, or if something doesn't go their way all the time, it's a little harder for them to bounce back. But I definitely 100% can see where you get that from. So talk to us a little bit about that, man. How about your dad? You wanted to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable story. He literally had no English in him, no money, no nothing, and he comes here and he just has to meet a bunch of people, find work, find business, just find his way out. And I feel like that's something that's like super important. Like, I feel like when you have nothing, you have to find something. So like let's just say you're struggling, like, you're gonna find a way out if you really want to. So I think that's a very important lesson that I've learned from him, is that like sometimes things don't go your way, and like you might not have anything, you don't have resources, you don't have whatever. But the most important thing is just keep grinding, keep going, and taking it day by day, like I said in baseball. And eventually you'll just keep piling up, finding stuff, and just figuring your way out. But yeah, he's been there since day one, and I find a lot of motivation from him. He didn't even know what baseball was, honestly. When I started playing, I just started playing baseball, and my mom knew a little bit about it, and my dad was like, what even is this sport? And he didn't even like pick it up until maybe 3 years ago. He actually understood it, which is the crazy part.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you have two brothers, one older, one younger. I know Nicky a little bit. Just elaborate to us kind of on how important those two have been in your development, just in terms of not only baseball, just in terms of your life kind of as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. My brothers are just my two best friends. I think it's super important to be super close with your family. I always got told when I was younger, friends, people in business, they might stab you in the back, turn on you, but no matter what, if you're successful or unsuccessful, your family's always going to be there for you. So those are the people you got to go to first when times are in trouble and it's just not going your way. But my relationships with my brother, honestly, one of my favorite things about just me. I feel like it's super important. I'm just super close to my brothers, talk to them on a daily, usually have them down most of the time when I'm playing baseball. But my older one, Steven, he's been a part of my baseball journey my whole life. I remember I was just a kid in middle school, just playing Fortnite, grinding video games, playing 8 hours a day, and I didn't have my life together at all. So I think I was in 8th grade, and I was still playing video games Fortnite 6 hours a day at least. And my brother comes up to me and he's like, "Bro, you say you want to do this, you want to get drafted, you want to be a college baseball player one day, you want to be a successful baseball player. What are you doing on this video game? How about you get off the video game and let's go train?" Ever since that day, I don't think I've touched a video game for an actual day in 5 years, which is crazy. So that was definitely a turning point in my life. And he's just all right, let's go to the field. And honestly, we both did not know what we were doing, so we just figured it out along the way. We just found a lot of resources on Instagram, what to do for training wise and all that stuff. And eventually just kept piling on, meeting new people, getting better and better. But the journey was difficult, man. I mean, in 8th grade, I remember I was on a B team, and my best friend was on the A team for some travel team. And I was just super upset, and I was just all right, it is what it is. I can't let that defeat me. So I just kept getting better. And now we're here, which is unbelievable. But my little brother, he's kind of the videographer, that's where I can study all my swings, all my plays, how to get better, and just develop myself. He's been doing that for a while, and just it's crazy how much sacrifice the whole family has to bring just in order to just for my success. And that's what I'm just super grateful for. And just them being a part of my story and everything like that, I think is super important. I'm just going to keep them around as long as possible.
That's amazing, man. So you talked a bit about the idea of, I don't want to say failure, right? But my personal experience is something similar to yours. When I was in 7th grade, I was very similar. I played a ton of video games, and I really was, honestly, when I was younger, as a kid, I was one of the better, I don't want to say better players, but I definitely was God-gifted in a lot of areas of baseball. And then I got some injuries kind of in middle school, didn't really take it serious, got passed up by a lot of guys. And I remember those moments, man, and it was, for me, that's why I think I do the things I do to this day, and how I've ultimately ended up here talking to you is because there was a collective of, I think, about 13 months in there where it just sucked and it was just tough, and I wasn't very good, and then I had to make a decision kind of like you to just stick my head down and just get to work. But I want to hear about how does failure, or how would you say to some kid out there that may be going through something similar to just handle that element of failure, or not necessarily failure, and people word it differently, and people word it as learning experiences or something of the sort, but I think failure is real, and I think you have to admit to failing and have the self-awareness that you need to get better, because that's the only way I've ever grown. But how would you go about telling somebody that may be in a similar situation to you, just how you had your older brother, but not everybody, that's a very good fortune, and that's something I admire, and that's something I try to be to my younger brothers. How would you go about telling somebody that maybe doesn't have that resource, or someone that is struggling in the game, or not even in the game, just someone who may be listening to this and aspiring to do something worthwhile and go after something?
Yeah. Failure is going to happen, no doubt in my mind. Failure happens to literally everyone. And the best way to see it is that, this moment might not be the best, but it's always God's plan, and eventually, if you just stick through it, keep going every single day, eventually you'll get out of it, and you'll be like, wow, in that moment, that was terrible, but thank God, I went through that, because now I'm the man I am now. But if you don't have a brother like I had, which I'm super fortunate, I'm super blessed, I'm super thankful, you got plenty of teammates, your friends, best friends, parents. I feel like everyone's there to help, and I feel like one of the most important things is finding a group, or finding a few guys who just have super similar minds and similar goals, so you guys could do it together, because you guys are going to both be in the same situation. You guys are going to both fail. Everyone's going to fail. Right. If you have a similar group of friends and people who have like-minded goals, I feel like that's the best way to do it and go about it, because they're going to be there and they're going to have your back. You could talk it out with them and just figure things out.
Yeah, that element of having the right people around you is so important, because I've always been a believer that you're the average of the 5 people you associate with, right? So it's basically if you want to be great, you got to hang around great people. If you want to do great things, you got to do what people who have done great things do, right? It's not you can just luck your way into certain things. And don't get me wrong, they're always, and I'm sure you can attest to this, and I know you and I have talked about it a little bit, but there's people that just don't seem to do everything from a technicality standpoint of wanting to be or doing the best in terms of work ethic or attitude, but they just have it, right? They just have this God-given ability that they can run fast, jump really high, throw really hard, hit really far, or hit really well. But it's like they don't, just from like our perspective or maybe other people's perspective, they don't always work the hardest and they aren't always the best teammates. So I'm curious to see, because I've always thought that the reason that for me that I kept going or I would do things is because I just felt like at a certain point when I'm 70 years old and whatever, and I'm, not in as good a physical shape as I am when I'm 22 years old, I just wanted to be able to look back and know that I did everything I could, right? And that's really my why as for things. But what's your why? Like, how do you go about it? What gets you up? Like, what's your driving factor when you get up in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, my driving factor is just just wanting to be the best. I feel like that's something I've had in me since I was a very young kid. Yeah. Whether I go play spike ball with my friends, whether I go play, like, let's say volleyball, let's go say pickleball, I'm always trying to be the best and always trying to learn. And I feel like something that just keeps me going in the why is just the challenge. And I kind of love the challenge and love competing and wanting to be the best. And I feel like if you just have that in you, you're just going to go day by day, take it day by day, take it slow, and you're just going to just want to compete. I just want to be the best, and that's my goal, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do everything in my power just to be the best I could become and see how it ends up,
Right. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's yeah, I mean, from the time I've known you, man, that's as true as you can get right there. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, dude. So, what are you doing, what are you getting ready for this off season?
Hey, this off season, I'm definitely gonna. We got a few more weeks of the season. Last few weeks we're just getting grinded out. For this off season plan is just take a few weeks off of baseball, which I think is well needed for everyone. It's gonna feel great, and then just get right back after. I mean, trying to become as big as possible, best as possible. Just big as possible, as best as possible. Just trying to learn, trying to just eat right, trying to do my thing, trying to explore the world a little bit too. I think that's important.
Right.
I'm definitely going to try to go to Europe. Just see all my buddies around the world. Let's just say Texas, Florida, California, explore and kind of just get myself out there and just have fun. Have fun. But at the same time, just get my work in, do the priorities first, and then just have fun, hang out with people, with guys I've met, and just have a good time.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, where in Europe are you going?
Slovakia. So the family's back in Slovakia. So I think we're doing a motherland trip with the whole fam.
Hey.
So I think that's going to be very, very interesting. I haven't been there since I was 3 years old. So just going back there, I just feel like that's something super important for me. Kind of just feel like what my parents and grandparents grew up in, and just like the people. I haven't the last time I went there, I actually didn't I just don't remember anything because I was 3 or 4, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I feel like now going there and understanding the culture and understanding everything a lot more, I feel like it's going to give me a different perspective in life, which I'm super excited for.
Right, no doubt. So you're going to be training while you're there?
In Slovakia, I'm not going to be training. I think that's going to be right after the season. Nice. I'm just going to go for 10, 12 days, just do my thing. But when I'm going, I live in New York, so I'm going to be training there mostly full time. I'm going to train under Jake Oliger, which he's one of the best of the best. Just teach the things the right way, and just someone I could understand and someone who understands me, which is super important. And I'll probably be in New York and Florida mostly, just because my grandparents have a place in Florida. So it's a good spot to just come here and just get some nice weather, get some sun, because New York, you do not get much sun from the months of October to February. That's the thing. Last year, I feel like you need some sun to keep you going, gives you some energy.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of be back and forth and just traveling a bit. I think it's important just to explore the world and just explore yourself to new opportunities, new things. I think is something that's very important.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, no, I hear that, man. No, when was so the last time you were out of the country, was that Slovakia?
I went to Mexico, maybe when I was like 12 years old, I think, something like that.
We're out in Mexico.
So it was some Cancun. I don't know,
Hey, nice.
but it was a good time. I want to do it again. Actually, I also went to Canada. I also go to Canada a lot because I have family in Vancouver, Canada.
Yep.
So I go there a good amount. We're going there this off season as well, so it should be fun.
So you have family in Vancouver as well. So you have Vancouver, Slovakia. Where else? Is that it?
New York, Florida.
New York, Florida.
Yeah, I mean Vancouver, Slovakia, New York, Florida. So pretty much we got the Canada, we got the Florida, we got the Europe, New Jersey, New York.
It's all over.
Yeah, all over.
Need to get you out to Colorado, man. You ain't gonna have much sun, but you can see the snow. Enjoy that.
Yeah, I'll definitely come out to Colorado. That'll be a good time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but no, I hear you, man. I don't. It's just tough, dude. It's tough. The winter months have always been just kind of hard for me for some reason, and I think it is that sun piece, dude. I really do. I don't like when it gets dark early either. I'm one of those people. Yeah, it's a little too eerie for me, man. A little too eerie for me. You going to see Trey at all? You gonna go down to Texas?
Yeah, I'm definitely going down to Texas to see Trey. That will be. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go down to. I think that's Austin, right?
Yeah, well, that's where the
that should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's where Texas. That's where we don't talk about them over at my school at A&M, but that's where the Burnt Orange is. Yeah. Trey and I live about, I think, 20 minutes from each other in Houston, so I'm sure I'll see him at some point, man. But
yes. I mean, if I'm going there, I'm seeing you too.
So, Sammy and I played with a guy named Trey Faltine, who is as one of one as a human being as you could ever possibly meet, man. So, Sammy, I gotta ask, man, what's your favorite Trey Faltine story?
Oh my goodness, favorite Trey Faltine story. I think that's not that crazy, but I mean, I just met Trey like 3 months ago, and we became super close. And Trey's he's a one of a one, no joke, one of a one. Great dude, a lot of energy. I think that's kind of how we connected like so closely. It's just like the energy we both bring. Like we don't need we can go like 2 hours, 3 hours of sleep, and we'll still be fully operating, which is kind of funny. But I think the funny stories of Trey is just like, I remember there was like 3 nights in a row we were in Daytona, and it was just my little brother Trey and I, and we just went to the beach till like 3-4 a.m. every single day, just listening to music, just chilling and just hanging out and just talking. I think it was just a great time, just great vibes. And then there was one of these nights, it was like we saw like a rocket ship at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And we did not know what was going on right on the beach. And like the whole just like city lit up, and it was just like we were just going crazy, and it was a good time.
Yeah, because Daytona's close to Cape Coral, right, or Cape whatever it is. Cape Carnival. How do you pronounce it? But anyways, it's where you see it's where you see the spaceships take off, or the rockets take off. That was pretty cool. My mom and I actually, when I was, I think, 9 years old, I was playing in a Little League tournament in Orlando, and she took me to see a rocket take off. And I didn't realize that that's exactly where that was. But y'all showed me that, dude, and I was like, bro, that's a UFO. That ain't a rocket ship.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't surprised, man.
That is actually hilarious.
Yeah.
UFOs, though, I think those things are real. 100%.
100%? Yeah?
100%. I got this story in the off season one time. It was just, I was going to do live at Bees, and we were in Connecticut, in the middle of nowhere. It was like the middle of the woods, and there was a church on the right, and it was just woods in the straight ahead. And there's like this roundabout with the drive through, and like there was no noise or no nothing, but there was like this huge flashing light in the middle of the woods, and like it was just unbelievable. Like I got goosebumps. Like we were talking about aliens, and then like this happens, and we were like, "What is going on?" And the people, once we got to the facility, we're like, "Yeah, like we lost power for like 1 minute, but we do not know what's going on." And then we go to like right by the roundabout, and we look, and we're like, "Dude, this is only woods. Like, what could have happened here?" And we went on Google Maps, and it was like only woods, and we're like, "Holy moly!" Like that was very weird. So that was definitely an interesting moment. But I definitely believe in them. I feel like they're out there somewhere.
Wow. Yeah, man, I think a lot of people would back you with that. I think people, I think it's it's crazy today, man. It's a crazy world. It's, a lot of wild stuff, man. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Especially, dude, like, it's also crazy because, like, our friend Hunter, who plays with us, we're talking in the dugout, and he's walking me through the UFOs, and he's talking to me about who's currently running the country right now because Biden stepped out of the race. So that was our topic of discussion in the dugout when we weren't playing the other day. So it's crazy, man. Yeah,
that is hilarious. I was driving back with Hunter from West Palm maybe like a few weeks ago, and I had the same exact rundown about all these UFOs. I had to watch all these videos. I was like, damn, like I'm with you. This is some crazy stuff here.
Yeah, dude. It is different, man. It is different. So, how far away are you from New York City?
New York City is it's like a 45-minute train ride, so it's super close. That's definitely a spot I'm going to be a lot this off season. My brother is moving to New York City with one of his buddies, so they have an apartment there. So I'm going to definitely try to get out there, maybe a couple times a week. Definitely in the beginning times of the off season.
Yeah.
Just go there, hang out with them, explore the city. Because like when I was younger and like the past few years, like I just like there's so much power and there's so many people and there's so much everything in New York City. I really didn't notice that until like recently. I'm like, wow, like this place is actually like this is New York City. Like not many people live in a city like New York City. Like it's just kind of crazy, and I feel like I have to take advantage of that. Go explore, go meet people, because it's so interesting, and it's one of the craziest cities, and the city never sleeps. So
yeah,
I'm definitely going to be there a ton, and I got a bunch of people there too right now, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I have only seen New York City from afar. Obviously, I went to Cooperstown when I was 12, and we stayed in New York City or downtown for I think a couple days. But it's all I ever hear about it is just the mask mandates and all that stuff, and that's all because I only ever get the news from it or whatever. Or I may have misspoken and all that, but you probably know way more than I do. But I only ever see it from afar, just in terms of that. But it's always something I wanted to go back to, dude. Is the especially New York City and Christmas. Yeah, like that's kind of like that's kind of like a bucket list thing. That I think, my girlfriend and I were actually talking about that being a possibility that we could go this year, but depending on if I end up playing winter ball or not. But yeah, man, I'll have to come see you. I'll have to come say what's up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in New York. We got my regular house in just where I live and where I went to high school, and then my grandparents, my dad built this cabin that we have. It's like on a lake, it has a hot tub, and it's just like the middle of the woods, so there's just like pine trees, like it's great vibes. And then we're building this house right now for our family.
Nice.
In upstate New York as well, where we got like everything we could like imagine, which I think is definitely gonna help for like my development and all that stuff. We're gonna get a gym in there, sauna, nice. Cold tub. We're gonna get a cage. We're gonna get everything. So it's definitely in the mix right now. My dad's actually there right now, and my brother working on it. But it's gonna be amazing. I worked on it a little bit this off season actually, because I came back from Instruct last year, and I was like, do you know what? Like, like I just played a lot of baseball. Like I kind of want to get my hands dirty and kind of just like learn like the little things like in life that are like super important, just like fixing stuff and just like building stuff, because I feel like that's a skill that's undervalued. It's not undervalued, but like people don't understand how important it actually is. And I feel like just knowing how to like build stuff and just put stuff together and just learn how to fix things is just a skill that like is very important. So that's something I wanted to learn that last off season, which I'm going to do as well this off season. I feel like it's just super important, and I'm ready to get after it.
Yeah, dude, that's funny you say that, because it's like if it's interesting to think about sometimes just how lost people would be if there wasn't a cell phone on them, or if they don't know what to do in a given situation. Because it's like, think about it, if we, like, none of us had technology and we had to basically like find our own food and build shelter and have water that's drinkable and just little stuff like that, man. Like, it's like human, like I know I personally would be, that's it for me. Like I'm hosed. Like I don't have any of those skills, which is so interesting. But it's funny you say that, man, because that's actually something that I've always been interested in, is just in terms of having the ability to engage in carpentry and engage in, I want to just say, being self-sufficient. You know what I mean? Just because I feel like that's I think, well, maybe not exactly what you're saying, but having that ability to stay self-sufficient and know that you're going to be okay. You can get your own food. You can get your own water. You know how to filter the water. You know how to build a house. You know how to have irrigation. You know how to farm. All that stuff, man. That's the interesting stuff to me. So, yeah, that's awesome, man. That's something I feel like you don't always hear, especially from professional baseball players, dude. Is something as little as just building stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just so important to get away from baseball, just because we play so much of it. So, like, things like that, it just, like, gets my mind off it. Like, I just said playing, but, like, playing with excavators, like moving wood around and, like, breaking stuff with excavators is, like, a lot of fun. And just stuff like that. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the way I was growing up and just, like, what I was around. But, like, I find a lot of peace in it, actually, which is kind of funny, because when I was there last off season, there was no internet there, so there's no phones allowed, no nothing. So it's like, all right, like, we're here, like, let's get to work. You gotta put your phone in the car, can't text anyone, just gotta get to work.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I also could see that when you didn't have a phone for about 3 weeks of this year. You didn't bother to get a new one.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, pretty much, I had, I don't know, iPhone 11 or whatever like that, and like it was cracked and like half the screen you just couldn't see. So I was like, all right, like if I want to use this phone, I could press the Siri button and like I could call my mom or dad or someone. But like that was just like not worth it. So like we were at Universal one day, and my little brother it like came out of my hand, like he like hit it out of my hand, and it fell on the ground. I was like, we both stared at each other and we were like, damn, like this is about to be the end of it. I pick it up, it's just like fully toast, and like it doesn't even turn on anymore. So I was like, all right, like I guess like I don't know what I was waiting for. I was just waiting for like a new phone to pop up in my hand. But I literally went to the facility for like literally like a week with no phone. And I remember like Trey being like, just like talking to his friends and being like, yeah, like this kid he has no clue what he's doing right now. He's just in the locker room staring at the locker because he has nothing to do. He has no phone. And I was just like, yeah, like pretty much that's exactly right. Yep. And eventually I went to AT&T and I got it fixed. And it literally took 30 minutes. And I was like, wow. Like, I had enough time to do that literally every single day. But then, I don't know, I think you learn from it. Like, I think it's like, I thought it was super important because, like, I learned that, like, there's nothing that important on your phone. Like, instead of just checking it every single, like, 10 minutes, let's just say, like, I couldn't check anything. So I'd go back home at night and just, like, I'd use my brother's phone or something like that to check if, like, anyone texted me or, like, if there's anything important.
Right.
But, like, I feel like phones, like, I feel like there's good things and there's just so many more bad things about it. Like,
Yeah.
Just like, I feel like it's important to like stay in contact with your family and all of that. But there's so many distractions and so many things that just like just take you off the path on your phone, which is a killer. But that's the life we live now, so separates us.
Yeah, and that's something that I've always been cognizant of, is the screen time element, right? But the interesting thing that I've noticed with this podcast is I have to, because this has kind of been an element, like you said earlier, for you, just in terms of excavating and building. This is kind of my version of that. And this brings me peace just because it's essentially, I talk to people that, you know, I really find interesting, and, you know, I love to hear stories and about how they've gone about their business. And it's not necessarily just baseball players, and that's not what I intended this to be. But the interesting part about that is I have to have a social media presence in order for the podcast to grow. So I have to be posting every other day, if not every day, or if not that, then at the very latest, every 2 days, I have to have something on my social media pages, right? So the difficulty for me has always been whenever I post something, I think a lot of people do the same thing. So I'm not just going to say me, but it's like this bug. It's like this, it's the same. I remember watching this documentary one time on social media, and it's when you post something, it's like the same thing as hitting a slot machine or it's like the same thing as gambling. It's the same principle. It's like you post something and then you keep checking back for clicks, and it's like this tiny little hit of dopamine that you get when you see a certain amount of clicks or a certain amount of likes or whatever the case may be. So for me, it's like I have to post a ton, but at the same time, I have to find the balance of, okay, I posted something, now I got to get off. Like, I got to post and then I got to ghost. And that, I think, is something that people just don't do. And people just don't do that. Like, it's not a normal thing for a human being to just say, all right, I'm going to post something for the approval of other people, but it's like I'm not even going to look at it, and I don't care about it, right? So it's like the same thing. It's like the only thing that the phone for me could be useful for is developing and growing something that, you know, I'm working on, and something that I find that I enjoy. But also too, it's dangerous and difficult because the next thing I know, I'm on there and I'm looking at who's liking all my stuff, and then I see a post that I find interesting, and then it leads to 20, 30 minutes on the phone. So that's definitely, I think, one of the biggest.
100%.
That's definitely one of the biggest challenges that I've run into, because prior to this, I was barely going on my social medias at all, and I pretty much, I think, deleted a couple of my social media accounts. But in order to grow, I think if you can manage it in the right way, I think that's the key. It's just so difficult, man, because it definitely does take that willpower and discipline to do it.
Yeah, I think that's super important, actually. I feel like I also learned that too, because I'm posting a little bit more here and there, whatever, but it's more of my little brother, because my little brother's here with me, and I'm like, all right, like just like post some content, like just, I'm not really like, I think it's more important to just try to be consistent and have a goal more than just like looking at like the growth, because the growth happens naturally once you're just consistent with it. And like I've been the same way. It's like, oh, like I want to look, but I feel like it's like, all right, like who cares right now? It's about the long run, you know what I mean? If you're just consistent every single day, just take it day by day, eventually you're not gonna have, it's just gonna like keep growing. So Exactly. It is definitely very difficult to look, because it's like, all right, like, oh, like who's looking, who's doing this? But at the end of the day, like, you just got to be like, all right, like, I don't care. Like, I'm posting whatever I want to post. If people like it, people like it. If people don't, they don't like it. You know?
Yeah, man. It's just tough, dude, because it's a lot of people don't think like that. They don't think about the longevity. They think about just in the moment, and they don't think about the growth and the steady growth. So that's the interesting part about it, man. But yeah.
Everyone,
go ahead.
Everyone wants everyone wants results in like a day, right? Like I forgot this term my other brother told me. Here's one of the terms, like little by little, a little turns into a lot. Like you don't want I feel like it's better. Like I feel like people who get their growth in like one day and their fame in one day, it's just like they kind of end up falling off. But I feel like if you go little by little, a little turns into a lot. And eventually you kind of just learn things through that path instead of just like let's just say like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I just feel like it's more important if you just try to go little by little every single day than instead of trying to hit the jackpot on day one. I feel like there's so many more values and lessons you learn throughout the whole journey instead of like the one day, like just like blow up, if that makes sense, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, it's the idea that Rome wasn't built in a day, man. It's anything that
yes, exactly, that's what it was.
Anything that's going to stand the test of time has to take time to build. You can't just do it in a day. And it's also the idea too, man. That's interesting is, and I heard this from Jocko Willink. It was like Rome wasn't built in a day, but it also wasn't destroyed in a day. It's the idea that those same good habits that got you to where you're at. Conversely, if you start having a little bad habit here and there, that slowly starts to break down what got you so far. And it's like it's exactly that, man. It's the balance of how can you live in the moment, but also be building and progressing day to day to something that you're fulfilled with, right? I think a lot of people chase happiness in this life, and a lot of people chase this instant happiness. They're this instant, like it might last a day or it might last a month, but like you said, man, anything worth building, it takes years to be fully deep down self-fulfilled of what you've accomplished and what you've done. And it's just not something that a lot of people think like, man. And those were the principles that when I was at Texas A&M that were so instrumental to building, because it's like, or at least when I was younger, man, it was like all I ever wanted was to feel like I was tough, or like I felt like I was worth it in terms of, I just felt like when I was a kid, like I was like a loser, man. Like I felt like I didn't have a ton of friends when I was in middle school or high school. I was always the kid that, didn't go out or whatever. And I always just wanted to feel, man, like at a certain point it became, I didn't really care about what anyone else thought about me. It was just like, I want to just progress day to day, and I want to see where this thing goes, because it was like I just felt like at a certain point other people weren't me, and I knew that if I was going to do what everybody else did, I was going to get what everybody else got. And I knew eventually along the way, like talking to yourself or talking with other people, man, like I knew eventually I'd run into people with similar ideologies, but I just always felt like something was off, man. Like if I was hanging in a group of people that was the wrong crowd, or people that I knew that not necessarily didn't have futures, but just people that I knew didn't have the same future as me or weren't going down the same path as me. So yeah, man, and it's just that people just, that's just a lost art, man, and that's why people say it's easier now today to be great at something, because people just aren't willing to do those things. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I don't know. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the same correlation goes to baseball as well. Because I remember when I was a kid, my brother would always tell me so much, like, bro, like you might not see the result like this week, like that you're getting better, but like if you just keep going, eventually you will. And that's what some kids just don't understand these days. They feel like, because I feel like social media has that effect, success, and you're like, wow, like I could be like him, and like I want to do it in 2 days. In reality, it took so many years to just develop and become that player that kids just don't understand that. I feel like it's so important just to like understand like it's all right, bro. Like you're not gonna make a change in a week. You're not gonna make a change in a month. You'll see progress in 6 months. You'll see that you got better in a year. You know what I mean? And I feel like kids just want that the same day like change, which is not gonna happen. And I feel like they get so caught up in that, and that's what affects them. Where like if you look at the long term and just have like set yourself goals like year by year by year, eventually you're gonna be like, wow, like I was like so bad, and if I just took that year by year, and eventually I got so good. Like, it's just like, it's a long game, and I feel like patience and just hard work and understanding that just consistently grinding every single day will eventually get you to where you want to be. But if you just like there's just kids who just like grind like for 2 days of the week and then are like trying to see results, but it's the everyday thing, and it's as much as it is on field, I feel like there's so much to it off field, like the eating, like eating the right food, like training, going to the gym, surrounding yourself with the right people. So I just think people don't understand what you actually have to get yourself into, and it's all around 24/7 thing, more than just like, all right, like an hour here, hour there.
Yeah, no, that's the consistency piece of it. We learned this thing called the compound effect when I was in school, and it's this really good book, and I would definitely recommend to anybody listening. And it's essentially exactly what you just said. There's this idea that's talked about in the book, and it says, okay, would you rather take $1 million or $3 million today, or do you want a penny that doubles every day for 30 days? And the first 20 days, I think your return on investment on the penny is like $10,000 compared to maybe like 20. I'm botching it, but in the story is when you get to day 30, the return on the investment is like $10 million as opposed to the $3 million that you got up front. And it's like people kind of give up on that day 20, day 21 range, when in all reality, dude, you're like that close to seeing like a major breakthrough.
Yeah.
And it's just those things that you do compounded daily are so instrumental. And I also think another part of that too, man, is like that I've learned is the process really does look different for everybody, and it's all about running your own race. Like, it's like everybody's tried different things, and if you are really putting in a genuine vested effort to the process of things and developing and working and trying to become your best self, then you learn and figure out that some things just simply aren't for you. And like for me, if I go months, so like when I'm playing my worst baseball, which is, my goal, right, is to be a long-time major leaguer. And when I'm playing my worst baseball, dude, it's like I feel like I need everything to go my way. I feel like I need to be doing X, Y, Z in the day, and if that's not going right, I feel super anxious about it, and then I'm trying to micromanage from that, and then the next thing you know, it leads to when I'm in the game, if an umpire makes a call that doesn't go my way, I'm like done, like out of that at bat, and then if that doesn't go my way, it carries into defense, and if defense doesn't go my way, it carries into that offense. So it's like having that balance too, because I used to think that having balance was for people who were just like, okay, like soft. Like if you want to, if you can't handle just only going 24/7, like you said, it's like this isn't for you. But I really do believe, man, it's like having the balance of when you're not at the field or when you're not doing the thing that you're doing. It's like you are talking to your family, you're talking to your girlfriend, you're hanging out with your friend. Like you're not at the baseball field, right? And I think that that's also a message that's important too, man. It's really, because there is definitely on one end of the spectrum the people who just don't do enough and expect something to happen from it. But then there's also the other side of the spectrum that was me when I was younger and when I was in high school and when I was a freshman in college, where it was like life or death every single day, putting so much pressure on myself. If I didn't have a good day, then I was just the worst for a long time. Like I couldn't get over it like that. Like I couldn't flip the switch on and off. But it's like in order to do that, man, you have to have an outlet. You have to have something else that you do, because especially in baseball and really anything in life, but especially in baseball, it's like you're going to drive yourself mentally insane, because it just is impossible to go about it like that.
Yeah, you need that balance, honestly. Like I remember last year, my high school season, like we only had 20 games or whatever, and there's 35 scouts every single game. And like I remember just like one day there's like let's just say 30 scouts, like a bunch of scouting directors, and like this kid's like throwing 70 and I strike out 3 times and like hit a pop up, and I remember just not even going home that night. I just went to the baseball field and just chilled there by myself. And you got to actually understand the balance. Like things like that happen, and you can't put too much pressure on yourself, or else that stuff just piles on and piles on. So you just got to find that balance and understand, like, all right, like I had a bad day today, like tomorrow's another day. But yeah, I did the same thing when I was younger. I just put so much pressure on myself. I didn't find that balance, and I really started to find that like the past year, and understanding that like baseball is a huge part of my life. But like I feel like to get better, you also have to go do things and just like explore the world and like talk to people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's tough too, right? Because it's for a guy like me who, I didn't play hardly at all the first April and May of this season, and then even I'd say June, July, I was playing 3 to 4 times a week. So still not playing every day like I am now. But when I was in that situation, dude, it was tough because I was like, I know that it's really important to have that away time, and I just I knew like in those moments I was like, and as much as I love baseball, man, I do want to play, and like there's never like I always, even when I'm not, I'm sure you can attest to this, but even when I'm feeling like I have that downtime, it's like it makes me appreciate baseball that much more. But even when I wasn't playing, it was like, yeah, I'm probably like, this off season is going to look a little different because like odds are like, hey, like I need to get some at bats, so I probably need to go play winter ball or whatever that case may be, and we'll see if that happens or not. But it's like that away time's huge, man. That definitely, and I don't think people appreciate it enough. But that's why it's important for guys like you and me, man, or any professional baseball player. When we're not at the field and we're doing our own thing, it's like we need to be doing our own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, it's good stuff. But so, is your family down in Florida with you right now?
Yeah, they're taking off. They have a flight at like 3:00, and then my brother and trainer come at like 6:00. So everyone's here for the next 2 weeks, which is going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. So how did you meet Jake?
Going to be fantastic. So Jake, I trained at a place called Hudson Athletics, like 2 minutes down my road, and that was during COVID. And there's this guy named Kyle Wilcox and Jake Oliger, who were just like absolute units and like beasts of human being. And I just kind of met them, and they kind of like, I remember training outside at this field by my house, and Jake was also in college then, and he'd be at the field every day, and he'd see me at the field every single day and be like, wow, like this kid just like works every day and like he doesn't take breaks. And then we kind of grew a bond from there. He was like, all right, like let's go to Florida together, let's go train there. And then eventually we just kept talking, and now we're best friends, and like we're so close, and it's unbelievable. And I'm so thankful for him because the things he's done for me is unbelievable. And just like he literally drove this off season, he tore his rotator cuff, or I think his rotator cuff in his shoulder, so he's out for like 12 months. But he just keeps grinding. He drove 45 minutes every single day to come see me and train with me in the off season, and then right after that went to work in the morning, came to see me for like 2 hours, then went back and drove 45 minutes to work again, and then worked till like 8 o'clock at night. So he's a warrior, he's a grinder, and then we kind of just clicked from the beginning part, and then that's the story, and now we're here.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I was because you said to have him on here. I was just curious, man, just because I'm excited to meet him.
100%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
100%. I think he's got a amazing story, and just like he's just everything about him. He just understands life. He's been through it. He's throwing 97 off the mound with the torn rotator cuff, which is unbelievable. He literally threw with a torn rotator cuff for over a year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to expose too much, so you can get him on here and he can say his story and tell us apart. But he's a phenomenal dude. Literally one of the greatest to ever be.
So what does he do from a training regimen standpoint that's different?
I just think it's like the competition side, and just like he wants to beat the shit out of me, and that kind of makes me want to beat the shit out of him. So we're just competing like to the absolute max, and like he's not letting me get away with any slack, like no slack at all. Like I'm doing, like he's pushing me full throttle no matter what, and we're getting after it. And he's just I think something like super well he does is understands how to like coach me, because I'm not saying I'm not coachable, I'm just saying like I feel like I understand things a little bit differently than other people, and my mind works a little bit differently, and he just understands how to speak to me and get things through me, because sometimes I just don't understand like simple terms, and he kind of like even simplifies it even more or stuff like that, and gets me to understand it like just through training, which I think is super important for me, and that's helped me a shit ton this off season.
Yeah, no, that's the hallmark of a great teacher, man. It's like it doesn't matter the student. It's like the person can still communicate in whatever way possible, and I think that's imperative, man. So, yeah, no, I can't wait to meet him, man. I'm sure we'll have some things to talk about and all that good stuff. So he gets in today, you said? I guess today's the 18th. Or something.
He gets in tonight, so he's not going to be at the game. He's not going to be at the game, but we'll be back at the Airbnb after the game.
Gotcha. And he's going to train you while you're here, or is he just coming to just hang out and cook or whatever and just support?
Yeah, he's just coming here to support, say what's up, just watch me. Yeah, he's just coming to watch me play, come hang out with the family, kind of just get away from, I guess, New York, Connecticut area. Just have a good time here, you know. Come see me, because I've only seen him one time since March. So we're on FaceTime every single day. But yeah, he said, I want to come down for 5 days, come check it out. Watch some baseball, talk some baseball. We're not gonna do any training just because we're in season, and that's not his job, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I'm just gonna have him come down. I think it's just like a good reset as well, just hanging out with the family, brothers, trainer, because that's kind of what brings peace to me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's so instrumental, man, also, too, just to have a mentor. Like, and for you, like, I just think that's such an overlooked piece of things, man. It's like having somebody that knows where you want to go, knows what it takes to where you want to go, knows the ins and outs, and also is just a genuinely good human being to have your genuine best interest is also just so huge. So, no, that's awesome, man. That's great stuff. But yeah, I think we'll wrap up there, man. I mean, I can't thank you enough for getting on. I know you're busy. I know you're with the fam. So, all right. Appreciate you, Sammy.